Good morning, Christina. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Hmm.
I see an empty room. And I want to paint it black.
Okay. Hey, Christina, can you hear me?
I can.
Great, thanks.
I'm gonna say. Ooh, I've got a really bad echo.
Okay, let me.
Not that I'm gonna say. Whew.
Okay, I know what it is. It's the TV, and the microphone's picking up the TV. I'll fix it.
Thank you.
You know, I love it whenever my AV equipment does not work.
Yeah.
Makes my day so much easier. Oh, my gosh. Hey, Christina, are you still getting it back on?
Let me hear it now. Yeah.
Okay, let me see what I can do. Right now.
Hello.
Hello.
Still there.
Is it at least better?
No.
No. All right.
I might just have to live with it and keep my mouth shut.
Whenever you're speaking, I'll just try to mute us. That should at least take care of it.
Okay. Hey, it didn't do it that time.
Because I muted ourselves.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, and Christina, whenever John opens up the meeting, I'll have to skip the board to make a motion to let you participate via Zoom. That's our new policy.
Okay,
before we adopt the agenda.
Before we get rid of that. I'll hear other stuff than Derek, but he said he was gonna be coming. You want to start now?
All right, I'd like to call to order the Village of Marvin Parks, Recreations and Greenways Board meeting here on Tuesday, May 2nd at 9:02 a.m. Is there a motion on the table to allow Christine and Clark to participate remotely? No. All in favor, say aye.
Hey, Austin.
Yes.
I can barely understand a word. It is like really, really garbled. And I will give up at some point. I really can't understand anything.
All right. Can you hear me better?
Say something.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, it's still garbled, but yeah.
There we go. Have you got the crud? I do too. I'm on Doxy, whatever it is. I'm feeling a lot better. Okay, can you hear us better now, Christina? Okay. So the next item is the adoption of the agenda. Do I have any changes or recommendations regarding the agenda? Do I hear a motion on the table to adopt the agenda as written? All in favor, say aye.
Give it a Bob.
I feel like I'm on Jeffrey. Next item on the agenda is the adoption of the previous minutes of March 28th, which was the joint meeting with the village council. Any questions or updates regarding those minutes? Do I hear a motion on the table to adopt the March 28th, 23 minutes as they are written?
Seconded.
What is? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. Next item is public comment, and I don't see any public comment, so we'll move on to well, public facility managers update. I don't know if. Okay.
You will take a copy? Copy. No, thank you.
I've turned everything off now. Here you go.
So the second page.
Well, the first item is update on Marvin State Planning and call for volunteers. So maybe we can start to discuss that piece and.
Still not here, but everything is proceeding well. We're wrapping up some things. We talked to the subcommittee today about a few more things. Talking about doubling the number of shuttles just so we make sure we have enough resources to actually move people between pickup and drop off sites. She's got a few more sponsors she's got to chase down because people haven't paid yet, but 42,000 in sponsorships. We did 30 around 30 last year, so we blew it out of the park.
One question, I saw a request come out about volunteers, t-shirts and so forth. but is there a list of volunteers that are needed yet, or that's what we're kind of gonna go over? Because I didn't know how many people.
We still have to talk it out, but like what I told the planning board, if, we will always take volunteers. So if you're willing to volunteer, if you're willing to volunteer your spouse, your children, your distant relatives, we'll take all we can get.
I think that was something we were gonna, I don't have the agenda in front of me, but, I think we were gonna talk about volunteers.
That's what we're on right now.
Okay, perfect.
For
So,
this
yes.
meeting, yes.
So if you guys have time that day, and Bob, I was actually gonna call Judy, see if she might want to volunteer at the barn with the kids. Cause I know she had helped out at something, I have it on my list somewhere that I'm supposed to call, but this is not Kim. Ask her if she wants to, yep, right there, there's the barn to help with the. what we're gonna have with with the kids, yes, with the potting.
We got.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's really fine.
Well, I've got one, Tracy on.
Tracy would like to possibly volunteer
Yeah.
doing stuff. Okay, perfect.
So that's what I was gonna ask is what we needed, because I've got her and potentially two dogs.
Okay, perfect.
We did send out an email, to board members, I think already, saying if you want to volunteer to send us your t-shirt sizes, with those are. Respond to that and tell me.
Okay, well, that's what I was trying to get an idea of before I responded to that, is figure out who I got available.
Yeah, so the kid craft station is from 11 to 3, and we're gonna do 2 volunteers for 2-hour shifts. So we need a total of 4 volunteers for there. And then I have reached out to the middle school beta club. They have said they have got currently 6 members who are interested in helping at some point that day. We just need to tell them where and when, so I will get back with them. And then, we were looking at,
We had determined in our last meeting that for the 5K, for the water table, the turns and monitoring the driveway, we needed 10 people, and we had sort of figured staff and council would
Yeah.
largely cover those 10. And then those kids sign up, we needed a total of like 25 between the bounce house and the yard games to work the different shifts.
Yep.
I
So
could
then
probably-
adding, so then the
kid craft for 2-hour shifts.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so we're gonna put you down for
Those four.
perfect.
But doing but for the bounce house and the games, that was for the yard games and the bounce house, but not for the flower, for the potting and craft thing.
Correct, that's what,
That's what he's doing.
John,
Okay.
yeah, John just said he'll cover that for us.
Okay.
So we're good there.
Tammy, what about, so my husband and my son will come and help.
Okay,
I do need to be nearby Carolina Waterfowl and Reptiles 101 to see.
we kind of figured you would be there.
Okay, so
What about kind of
And
putting
do
you
you need,
there?
so that was a question also that I had is Christina and you, for the stuff that you're doing,
yeah,
do you need volunteers?
I think they're sending volunteers, so I know, I kind of know who's coming already.
Okay,
But I just told them I would be there to help them support them, set up, get their stuff in and out when it's time to go.
perfect.
And help them with, because I have a feeling the state thing is gonna be very popular. It's all hands on with the kids, so
Yes.
I want to make sure there's like crowd control too.
So, yeah, so we were assuming, I know it's terrible, that you would kind of be over there with
Yes.
them during whenever they were there and just kind of being around all of the kind of inside, because they're
Oh,
all
yeah,
gonna be in the
absolutely.
barn, so we kind of were thinking. So if you just want your husband and son to hang with you and kind of just be there, because again, I do think that there's gonna be some crowd control situations. I think we're gonna need to figure out, and I've been working with Jill on kind of the inside barn setup and outside the barn, because what we were talking about was where are we gonna put vendors in conjunction with like the face painting and the hair tinsel and the balloon guy, because those lines are gonna get long.
They are.
So we're gonna need some people to kind of do some line formation, make sure people are, waiting. And I did not want to back up vendors to where I think some of the lines are gonna be for some of these things. And so Jill and we went over to the park last week to kind of look at it. So we're kind of working through that.
Okay.
But I think that if you three can kind of be interior of the barn doing like the displays. We're gonna have the arborist, we're gonna have Carolina waterfowl, the reptile guy. We're gonna have signs set up for the deer stuff.
Yeah.
So I think you three can be in the barn. That would be
Okay.
perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
I've often been asked to kind of set up our speakers and systems. Is that gonna need to be set up or are we using
don't-
somebody
I
else's?
don't think so. I don't think we're gonna need you to do that. I think the DJ is gonna bring his own stuff.
what I
But we'll clarify that with Jill, because she,
Or if you need it in a different area or
Yeah.
something, I don't know.
okay, well, yeah, we'll let you know. But I don't think
I
so
don't think
as of
so either.
right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last Thursday, we're currently hiring for a recreation activities coordinator, so this will be our new grand poobah of Marvin Day and all of our events instead of Jill. So looking forward to having additional person on staff the next. Oh, she's very excited.
Very. So Christina's gonna be there. Bob, if you and Judy can just come and hang out at some point that day, if you're not too busy, come and enjoy and hang out. But we're not gonna commit you to being anywhere at any point that day.
We'd love to volunteer,
No, totally, no, I got you. No, I got you. That is totally. Yeah, just come. Okay,
Great.
okay. That's totally fine. So, okay. So, but if you do have any other teenager type people that you know that may want to come with your peoples, and you can wrangle them, let us know, because I'm gonna put together a better spreadsheet so I can really sense the beta club to be like, okay, this is how many people we need.
Yeah,
or
we need like kind of
slot.
genius for those.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that.
You guys need sponsors for the art stuff?
I think we're good.
The
Are
expo,
you
yeah, in fact, I've been trying to figure out, I mean, I have the art expo in hand, but I was gonna bring my daughter with me to help me over there and also to help me sell. But I also may turn her loose over on the other side if we need her, because she loves kids, so if we need
Okay.
up the potting activity
Okay.
or the bounce house stuff,
Okay,
like that's her jam.
okay,
I just don't know if I wanna sacrifice myself.
okay. Well, and I think that Firethorn's gonna have like staff on hand too, just to kind of be around and doing stuff. And they're gonna be manning their own booths and have everything set up. So I don't know. that
Because
there's gonna be
eventually
a lot of, like,
once we get everybody set up, it should be very autopilot.
So I think we're good there. Friday night, we're fine. We're doing everything here. Council will be here. We'll have some staff here. We don't need anything for that. The 10K, the 5K, we need 10 people. I think we can probably cover that with staff, kids, council. Because I know Andy's volunteered, Aiden. and
We've only
even-
told a lot of people
we
where
did
they were
already
gonna
told
be.
a lot of people, so, so I think we're good there. I think we just really need to focus on some volunteers at the park. So we'll keep everybody posted on what we need there.
Right now, we're hoping to mine a lot of teenagers for that, like with the
Mhm.
school.
With the school, and again, I think if I can send them a sign up genius, because the teacher did, or the advisor did come back and say, it's their decision on what they volunteer for. So we will put it out there, and she sent me an email last week and said, I've got 6 kids who have signed up so far, which I'm like, that's awesome, not kind of knowing what they're signing up for. So I'm gonna put together a sign up genius and send that over to her. So, perfect, that's awesome. Okay. I'm good. Christina, you are gonna have space in the barn for those posters. Yep. Perfect. Yes, yes, you have a spot in the barn for that. Alright.
Okay, anything more on, call for volunteers for Marvin Day?
I don't think so.
All right. Next item on the agenda is update on trail and grooming.
Do have an update. Thank you. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Do give an update. So first of all, you all know I'm leaving, trying to package everything up and pass it off under as best possible. Well, everything will be packaged, but passed off to various people, but trade on probably. So a little more phase 3. We had it surveyed, drilled over, but now, like, it was similar to phase 2. It was all in the floody, swampy areas, a lot of it, the sewer easement. So he's requesting basically the same thing, an easement shift. Fortunately, that area does not have a lot of homes, has huge wooded meadows back there. So it really won't affect the homeowners. The HOA is very agreeable to working with us in that. There was one homeowner, someone's house, just like right at the back of Walker's Bluff. They had that big rock back there. They have that big rock slide because they're the ones that will be most affected. But again, there's a huge vegetation buffer there. So wondering what just need to get the HOA to sign off on digital easement shift.
It's all within the comp.
Yeah. There's no property line didn't affect it. So they did request some trees, screening bushes to potentially help with the anything. I said, well, you're welcome to request it, but
We might,
We have some free trees, maybe.
we might be able to accomplish.
yeah, 747 trees.
Perfect. Have them ask Marsh.
All right, I'll
Have them
Yeah,
ask Marsh.
yeah.
Perfect. Love that answer.
So yeah, I mean, it needs a little fine tuning with some documentation and some legal things, but if we get the HOA to sign off on it, Scott can go in and build, do an as-built survey, get the new survey for where it is. We're sustainable out of the flooding area, out of the sewer right away, so the county tear it up with their tractors, they go and mow, and then or can turn that into the register of deeds. So second half of phase 3, still waiting on an easement from that property of the county with the house owns. To make it a connection to the Meadows Trail.
Have we talked to anybody? Cause I know that Hunter and Wayne keep saying they're gonna talk to somebody.
Yeah, I know they do too.
Okay.
If it was my recommendation, I would tell the trail builder to build it right up to the line as if it's gonna happen, and point it right to where he wanted it to go. They can come through.
Can you have them do that? Just don't do that, right up to the line. As long as we've got the easement right up to the line, and then we can be like, look, this is where it is. Look how nice it is. Look. All right, I'm gonna start pushing Wayne on that. He needs to take a walk. Short period, no.
Where's the Kim?
He's walking, he's walk down there when school gets out, so he can talk to the people. Because they're all out there waiting for kids. Tell them, go take a walk.
Audrey,
Yeah.
last update is Marvin Creek Connector. There was a pushback from the neighbors. Council said they're wasting more of your time begging them for an easement, put them all in their court. I did that, but with just a little bit of, time committed, I went down there on Friday afternoon and reflagged the trail, with just the slightest tweak of what one of the neighbors was requesting. It just affected the trail builder, sorry. With the home at the back of Painted Turtle, they just didn't want the connector coming out sidewalk where you could see into their garage. So he moved it over 20 feet, 30 feet, and walked it with them this past Friday, just 15 minutes to show them, and they're like, love it.
Okay, cool.
So, yes, they're helpful favor of it.
This trail, like, Painted Turtle.
The internal preserve trail.
Yeah, about, well, probably the furthest northern point, it starts to kind of make the hairpin around. It would have a connector that would shoot off and cross the creek there, and then cut
That'd be great.
a couple homes on the road edge and to the little sidewalk there with Painted Turtle. So pretty much the same thing. HOA just needs to sign off on, allowing us to come in on their HOA common ground and build. Trail builders can go in there and build it, and do an as-built survey.
They didn't have, I mean, they were all for it, correct? We were just, hold up was the. Okay.
And now that one, we do need to wait for them to have a board meeting
Okay,
and,
we know when that
vote
is.
on it, yes, the end of May.
Okay, so Hunter has all this information and he'll be following up with them.
He will have it.
Okay.
In the next 48 hours.
Perfect, okay.
I would encourage somebody who's passionate about trails to maybe stay on it. Nothing late.
We should probably throw that on my action item list. I'm happy to. The follow up Hunter on the Marvin Creek connector after MC board meeting at the end of May.
Put it on the first council meeting for June. Contingent that they let us know at their board meeting, post their board meetings if they approve it. Figure it for like a 4-to-1 vote.
Perfect. Great update. I love it. Love it.
Next item, C,
Oh,
unfinished.
wait, can I go back a little bit? Okay, go back to the trail. So just so you guys know, and I can't remember if we've had this conversation or not, but we are working on a general obligation bond to go out to referendum to the public. Part of that bond is going to be roads. Part of that bond is going to be trails and greenways. Part of that bond is going to be parks. So
Meaning our parts of the contribution for the part F or,
no, this is totally
Okay,
separate.
totally
This is totally separate. So we have our portion for the part of grant.
so that's separate.
This is yeah, so this is totally separated out because that project that we are hoping to do here on this property is gonna cost way more than what we've got, what the state has given us plus our contribution for that. Which is what the state gave us, so it's gonna be a lot more. So we're looking to do kind of those 3 different components within the general obligation bond. We are still trying to work out the details. We're trying to figure out exactly what's gonna be included in there. But if we get this done, our grand vision of finishing up that master plan of trails and greenways will be in there.
Okay.
So you guys can, if you guys want to go through and look at what is included in that and be like, hey, these are our top priorities. These are things that we just think are probably just not realistic. We put it on the master plan because why not? Like, put everything out there, but probably just not really realistic and not in Marvin, not ever gonna be close to being in Marvin, those kinds of things. And then come back and maybe in our June meeting, we can go through that list and be like, because we went through it kind of quickly in a work session while we were trying to figure out.
We talking like this? Like,
Yeah, we're talking, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So, we kind of knocked off a couple of things that I was like, you know, we're not gonna do that. That's just never gonna happen, like, whatever. So we can kind of compare those lists, and if you guys have super strong feelings on some of these that we are like, yes, we absolutely want to do it, and you guys are like, no, don't do that, versus we really think we should be doing this, and we had kind of checked it off the list, we can compare those lists, because this is going to be a big thing that we really want to have happen for the village, so that we kind of, instead of having to piecemeal it together like we've been doing, we can be like, look, here's the grand vision, here's what we want to do. So we can maybe look at that and bring that back to either the June or July.
I was gonna say, if we just put kind of a workshop in our
Yep.
next meeting.
Yep, that's totally fine too. We can pull it up and look at it. And we're gonna have them come,
Our next.
Or
regular scheduled meeting.
I think, yeah, it'll be June the 6th.
So it'll be right after.
Right after Monday. Yeah, yep. And then you can also look at what we've already kind of like tentatively been like, these are the ones we want, these are the ones that we're like,
We'll have to pull the,
we're gonna,
have to pull the financial planning off.
which is,
selected.
yeah, which is fine, because I think they're coming back to our work session meeting at the end of May, and we're gonna kind of fine tune it again, so it'll be like right before our PR&G meeting.
Except before the meeting, we will get a list, because this was Derek's
Yeah.
noted list,
Yes.
but it's been, it sounds like it's been going through more deliberations,
Yeah.
so we'll get a list of like where you guys are now,
Yeah,
and then we look at that and.
that's what I'm hoping we're gonna have. Okay, awesome. Yep, okay, okay, thank you,
Okay.
sorry, I didn't know if I had updated you guys on that or not, so,
No, I don't think so.
now you've been updated, so this is grand plan, so we'll see, okay, so that's finished now, sorry.
When you see the issue.
So we're gonna put it on the referendum either on the March 24 ballot or the May 24 ballot. Yeah, but I don't know, we had originally, Christina has March in her notes, but I don't know what the March elections are.
My understanding is that the presidential primary was moved up to March, but I think that other primaries are still in May, kind of separating them out.
Okay.
Yeah, just to make them complicated.
I was
why
gonna say
not?
that'll be great for voter turnout. Yeah, with a bunch of small ones.
We really want to put it on the one where we feel we're gonna get the most turnout at the polls.
We have a referendum.
Have we had one before?
Well, I haven't.
Sorry.
Community, well, maybe I'm not asking the question right, nor do I know the process. But are we gonna have a community meeting on the DO bond? It's gonna be communication with everybody.
Beforehand,
Before it comes up for a vote, so people understand.
We are gonna market the snot out of this. We are going to have open houses, we're gonna have meetings, we're going to probably hire a marketing firm to market it, to do these things. We've got bond counsel, we've got financial advisors, we've got lots of people looking at this who do this, because we clearly do not, we've never done this, we don't know how to
And
do
and
it.
it's not just parks and greenway stuff, it's the roundabouts.
It's roundabouts, it's the roads, it's taking over not just neighborhood roads, connector roads, in order for Marvin to then have a say in the speed limit, trucks on it, things like that.
Have all the elements been defined? Is that all in concrete yet, or are you willing to entertain things included within?
We have not, it is not in concrete, nothing is in concrete. So if there's something that you're like, hey, we can always talk about it.
I have.
Yeah, I've got. trails.
That would be, we would throw that within the roads and the greenways. That would be something, so things like,
Because a lot of our trails you can't use unless there's a crosswalk
right,
somewhere.
right, so yeah, so those are the crosswalks are on there, the street signs with the Marvin logo on them, the wayfinding and branding signs will be in there, like, there's a lot of little things that would be in there to kind of make up the bigger package, but yes, crosswalks like on Joe Carr, crosswalks on Marvin Road, where are we going on Marvin School Road?
Well, there's
I've
already.
got a thought lady almost get killed.
Oh, getting over to non-Marvin?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but-
And if we end up with the historic district, we'll
Well,
be
then
way to
stop
cross
it
over
off.
here.
Marvin School Road, they gotta cross.
They want blinky lights then.
They do need blinky lights because with the foliage and stuff, people kind of tend to stand back and you don't really. Mhm. Mhm.
For trail.
Yeah, we need to get gates and
But if
anchors
we're
in
gonna
front of
get,
it.
if we're gonna get video bond.
Yeah.
Why not ask?
Yep.
Oh, really? Okay, well, we need to, oh, okay, well, we need, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's that.
All right, cool.
You're welcome.
Okay, next item is, unfinished business. Item number 1 is discuss and consider recommendations to Pocket Park landscape. Jennifer.
No, that was my next one. The next one then. Well, which
Pocket park,
Public,
oh,
So this, the landscaping for the pocket park is on circle twice now. But it needs something. It needs a formal approval of what to happen. All that's really there are some extra trees that we had here, a horseshoe shaped trail, and some natural Bermuda.
Mhm.
Council approved the sidewalk at the end.
look that I'll do that.
What do you think? You guys said no to the concrete pad for the picnic tables, so we could still put a picnic table,
yeah, I was thinking, I stopped by there too. It seems like it needs something like, even for a place to sit, you know.
thing, Christina had put together, a nice plan. But I don't think it had any funding towards it.
It definitely didn't have any funding and
It might have been
we thought, when I said we, council thought it was gonna be more groomed. Christina meant it for it to be more natural. So we wanted somewhere in between and we've kind of gotten stuck because we don't have water.
irrigation that I got, let's back up.
Yeah, because the well was gonna be ridiculously expensive. Weddington Chase wouldn't let us hook onto their well, because they said they were basically at capacity, which is fine.
Made a direction. Review it down, dig down, see if it'll take some of the areas. There's decent soil there that you could probably gravel to, but I would say have them go take a look at it.
Yeah, do we have, because I don't remember seeing a plan. I mean, maybe
No, Christina
Have to
did
look.
one that, I mean, it looked really nice, but again, when we went to kind of execute it, it was more like it was meant to be more natural.
Mhm.
The council wanted it to be more manicured
Mhm.
and groomed, and so we need somewhere. Right, which is, so we were going down the manicured route. And we looked into getting a well, but a well is very expensive. So now we need to kind of revisit what our options are and what we can do that's somewhere in between natural and having some manicured.
Well, Ken, here's for my head, if we said, I think we talked about pocket park. Almost said nonsense, but
We were also waiting for the master plan. Gonna come back for a recommendation.
I've been over there several times, and I keep asking myself the question. Would I use, if I was over at Publix getting this stuff, would I come drive all the way out there? It's not a walk, it's just a drive. To sit next to a highway. It's right the center parking. My question is, why don't we have, and I know what the council's thoughts are. But I don't think having that manicured, spending money to keep it manicured, that's very good tax. And I don't see a reason not to, natural doesn't mean unkept. It could be native plants and look very attractive. It's not either or. It's not gonna necessarily look manicured, of course, require irrigation. keep them crowded. But on the other hand, it can be attractive. And I, for one, we have a lot of things going on that we need money for, spend money against. I just don't think, paying a lot of money.
So,
That's just Bob Nunnally.
yeah, so I mean, we obviously have neighborhoods over there that can walk to it and have asked us to make sure that they can walk to it, i.e. Weddington Chase was the reason that we put in sidewalk. So,
You know, I'm not being arguing.
no, I know.
Why would anybody wedding
It may be like, kids who want to go meet their friends and sit over there and have sandwich. I mean, I don't know.
I think understanding that is important to knowing what our target is with
I
that.
mean, how would y'all find that out?
I go over there a lot for lunch. I would love.
I would say, we've had requests for this park. I mean, is there an HOA over there that we could like poll, like,
I mean,
what would you guys like with this park?
You've got Providence Glen, Farrell Farm, you've got courtyards that may come over there, and I mean, again, we're trying to fill in some of these donut holes, and maybe we're gonna
Yeah.
get more. But
Well, I think,
talk about an expense to maintain.
well, I think the important thing is I stopped by there and looked around just a couple of weeks ago, and from the last time I kind of saw it, it even seemed very different. The sidewalks in now that goes down to Weddington Chase. And so I think if we all make an effort just to stop there, at some point before our next meeting, it'll give us a better idea of it. I tend more towards the natural part of it just because, the maintenance costs are the things that kill everything. And what happens is if we try to put something and then it just doesn't get kept up. So if there's ways to do it naturally, then I think, but now that all the privet is gone, that folks remember, the privet forest, and it's a lot more open, and you can kind of see what you're working.
Yeah, I agree with that. And again, I'm not for the natural. I just want it to look. Yes.
And I think
Yeah. So,
that doesn't.
It's on the record, doesn't matter.
yeah.
I mean, I think if
Want to put it golf course, but I want it to be like you. So if we can come to a happy medium, somewhere in the middle of it, looking like a prairie dust with stuff holes rolling around versus a golf course. Yeah, yes, Christina, I do.
We just, you know, I think that's a great idea. Let's all go out there, take a look, let's all get.
we can also find a way to get an idea of what people who might actually use it. 'Cause I mean, I go to Publix over there, I go shopping, I get back in my car, go home. So if the people who are around it, if there's any way to poll the HOAs or to just get some input even just from the HOA presidents of what, like, are people going to go over there and sit? In which case, then having some seating would be great.
I mean,
If this is just a pretty buffer, like just visual to like,
we have gotten feedback from what
You have gotten
that
feedback?
people want to walk over there, want to be able to utilize that area.
okay,
And right now they can't because there's nothing there.
right.
So I think if we can come to a happy medium somewhere in between and throw in some picnic tables.
I think I mean, if they want to go over there and use it, I mean, your preference not to sit, close to a highway, maybe that's a landscaping issue. But, if they want to use it, then, I would think seating would be the primary thing.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what they want.
Well, that's
That
what
would be
I could see it more like people stopping for lunch.
yeah, I mean, people can understand lunch for your Marco's pizza or, you know, whatever, and you want a place to sit.
And then the kids are in the chase that are able to, or Providence, and that are able to walk, because there will eventually be, I forget which side of the road, but the 485 widening, there will be side road there too. That'll be connecting several farms, Providence. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
we put it on the agenda like this.
That's the what, I mean, if you requested that we'd like to use it, I would love to have this stuff. People would like to use it. I mean, my mind, my imagination goes to sitting and moving, or sitting and talking, picnicking. But I mean, if there's something else and they're like, they get into a playground, like, I mean, that's an important thing to know.
You know, the cost benefit. Once again, as council member wants to participate in maintenance fee is to keep this stuff anyway.
Nope, we don't know what they're being.
Yeah, it's in there.
I'm just,
And some parts of it are currently being maintained by the landscape.
um, and I'm not being argumentative, but I'm just saying, as we sit down as a committee, and we make recommendations to council, I think we need to be very thorough and thoughtful and understand this is the one.
Yep.
And
Oh, yeah, I mean,
it could be
it's
used
gonna cost
as- as
staff.
right to spend money, but it's not gonna be used.
Okay,
All right,
we got our marching orders.
I like it.
and we'll put that on the agenda. The next item is update on Village Hall landscaping progress.
Yeah, so you guys, did we walk in? Which is super exciting. So Kim can correct me if I say anything that's incorrect from the council side, but my understanding is that you guys were not happy with any of the landscaper bids with regard to price, and so Councilman Portman is volunteering his time and getting reimbursed for like equipment rental and for materials like the soil to do it himself, which is why you see the old landscaping on the front, on this side of the building, and the new soil on that side. So just as an update, just so you know, we'll be doing it apparently in phases, because of his investment in time. And from the front stuff, he was able to salvage a few plants that we will reuse, because a few of the things out from the Lord Petalums are the same as my plants. We will be reusing any of those that look like they might come back. Nothing was looking really great. I guess when he pulled the plants out, they were, even without the irrigation system being on, they were literally just dripping water. It was just before the soil. So that, emphasizes that it was a good thing we changed the soil out. The one, and then Bob's got our connection for our trash for trees, landscaping plants. For the landscaping around Village Hall, that is not, there are definitely some things that we can use, but those are all, at least until we get confirmation from Tara, those are all very true species, and they're really geared towards being big. So like if you want an oak tree, that is your list. But for Village Hall with 2-foot high windows all the way around the building, there was a very limited scope of things on their list that Even if we were substituting plants out for what I had originally called for, most of them were enormous specimens. Things that are 10 to 20 foot portions. So I did pick amongst them and did make we put a couple of questions in to get feedback on, for example, they listed dwarf azaleas and we had dwarf azaleas on the plan, but which colors, what are nice, so she's finding out. And according to Bob, that this will be potentially a slow process.
Yeah, I was gonna get ahead of the curve. Yeah. Sometimes it's very difficult to get communication. I don't want anybody to think if there's a defensive. And we have sent information over to the appropriate people. They're gonna get back to us. I want to understand that it may not move quickly. I guess this brings up a question. Are you recommending we wait till the fall plan?
So there are a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. I feel like I know where this is going to go, but a couple of issues, and that's that one I think is sort of already in progress. And what I did with regard to timing, Councilman Warman was very eager to get at least this front part done by June. So that would be this month. So what I did is I took the questions that, I subtracted out plants that they might be able to give us, and gave him a list of the things that I know they won't be able to supply, and said, go ahead and find a place for these. So he's supposed to be, when we talked last week, a couple of emails back and forth, he is supposed to be sourcing those plants that we can't possibly get. So I guess what I'm saying is that we should expect that this will not only go in phases with regard to location in front of the building, but maybe in terms of how much is planted at one time. So if he can sort like the Laura peelings that he took out, he can put back in pretty quickly. And then as he acquires the plants that we can't get from wildlife, then he can install those. And then as we get those from Tara or from that supply, then we can fill in between.
And I was thinking ahead here, well, let's say we don't get. It's the plants.
I think that the ones, well, and I did give her numbers based on the whole thing. And the rest of this won't happen until, like, he wasn't talking about doing the rest of the building until fall. Let's see when she gets back to us and what they get back to us on availability is. And then depending on when that is, depending on how slow that rolls, we'll make a plan when that's in front of us, see, do we want them delivered right now? Or do we kind of want to put an order in for fall delivery? Okay.
I've got a note to call Tara.
Okay. Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. Right. So then the other issue up front is that, and this is no fault on Councilman Warman in particular. I just wanted to sort of put this back in front of you guys and get sort of kind of official opinion. One of the things that happened was that when he was looking at the plan, he did not notice that I had removed all of the Bermuda grass that is currently existing in these exterior beds. My reasons for doing that when I was developing the plan were that, grass, of course, requires fertilization and dethatching. This is Bermuda grass, dethatching, aeration, lots of fertilizer, even for Bermuda a bit. And it also is a weed problem because Bermuda runs on, I've seen it run under sidewalks and we would be pulling it out of the beds constantly, or it would be a maintenance issue. And so when I designed this, I proposed that we take all of the Bermuda grass out such that there was no maintenance whatsoever except for annual prune and 2 applications of fertilizer a year. He did not notice that that was on the plan. So when he replaced the soil, he did not remove the grass. This presents a couple of complications because if I had planned on leaving the grass, I would have maybe designed the plants, right? Because different sizes, different spaces of planting bed. So I don't know, I guess I wanted to get an opinion of how strongly we should ask him to maybe remove the grass or build it into our plan when we're planting the plants to remove at least the rest of the grass over here in the front. He was concerned about removing the grass around the tree. I think it's more important to remove the grass around the tree. To be specific, this is the tree to the right of the entrance when you're looking at it from the parking lot. Because right now the grass goes right up to the trunk, so to weed whack it, you'd be hitting the bark. And then any edging or weeding or aeration or whatever is going to be hitting the roots of the tree, like right at the surface. But he was concerned about disturbing the tree any further at this point. So kind of feel like I know what everybody's preference would be, but I just wanted to get a feel for if I'm the only one who feels strongly about it. If everybody else is like, let's just plant what we can in the bed that's left and leave the grass, or you know, what anybody's feelings are on the leaving the Bermuda grass or not. Yeah, me too. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, when we talked about it, it kind of came as a surprise, and he really hadn't even thought that that had been removed from the plan. He really hadn't looked at it. So when we talked about it, there was sort of a Titanic turning moment where he was like, "What?" Um, and then we were talking about, well, at least give it a tree ring. But once we've gone to that effort, the further away from the tree we are, it should be easier to remove the grass and less disturbing to the tree to remove the grass. So I'm kind of in favor. You got a compliment. Kind of in favor of removing the grass. So Christina is on board with that.
I will need to be there with my students.
Get it out of there. Yeah, consensus. Yeah. Okay. So I will communicate that to Councilman Mortman and ask him, you know, pretty pleased, and sorry for, you know, any miscommunication, you know, but we all sort of unanimously agree that grass needs to go. Yeah, so if we could strip it, if we saw it, I was happy. So if we could de-sod that and we can reuse it outside, that would be great. I know he doesn't want to have to run the excavator and come back in and scrape it like that and round up. You know, we could do, but then we have to, when we go to plant, we have to take out the dead thatch. So if that's a possibility, that would be. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, but if Derek can spare, if staff maybe has time to dig it, then we can reuse it in some of the bare spots where we do have Bermuda in the lawns. So that would be effective as well if we can do that. Okay, all in favor of removing Bermuda? Awesome, thank you. That's what I needed to know. Yep, that's what I thought, but just wanted to make sure. Okay.
Anything else on the recall? Okay. Next item, no new business, review of action.
What we'll get Councilman Morgan to do is put the graph. We'll email the wedding process have the site visits. We're gonna review the trail plans, June PRG meeting. Probably have the financial planning model. We have a little more information for that. And I'm going to follow up with Hunter after the Marvin Creek financial report meeting. And we'll discuss the connector at the June council.
And go ahead and the agenda item for workshop.
I got that. Okay. Yep.
So we have a lot of homework between these.
Review of ongoing.
All right. Let's just have our iPad.
The only thing I have on there is driving around the speed bumps. Do we take the speed bumps up, Mark? Yeah, I don't remember going over them, but I just went in there.
It's a very last week.
Hey, do we have any options about people driving around of those?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
I'm good.
Yeah.
That made all my comments.
One, I want to there. Back in.
Mhm.
And number two is May the 16th. Park Rec and Greenway. We got a speaker, Schumacher, and he's going to be a Banks Presbyterian talk about fun. Love for everybody. I'd love for PRG to support the speaker series when we have snakes. So Jennifer did a great job on that. We got Bitler there. Well, really appreciate you coming out. And oh, we had a good meeting.
I was there, but I'm stuck in front of me.
I would be there, but I have a middle school golf. event. Which is really-
I could probably do it, but you know what? I don't even know these things are happening, and if I don't, other people don't. So emails. I mean,
I will send an email to all.
I think it's just the date, so I send it to the board.
But it's gonna be in it was our newsletter last week, it's gonna be in our newsletter this week, and it's gonna be in our social media. I think it's social media once, and it's gonna be on Twitter.
Yeah,
It's gonna be everywhere.
that one I wouldn't know. I stay off social media. I look at the newsletters for right now. It's been getting like there's. I'm the hardest person around to get information out to. So if I know about it, it's saturated. I'm not on social media and I'm not on contact groups and all of that. Yeah, no, I was just saying texting direct email, I'm really good with, but you know, and not that it has to be specific for me. I'm just saying as an index. If I haven't seen it, then the algorithm doesn't put it. It has an outbound link.
I couldn't hear you. We could.
Yeah, did you have comments?
Yeah, please do that. I think my daughter might be, but I might not be. Are you on there? Sweet, no problem at all.
Christina, any comments from you?
Right? We're good. We're efficient.
I just like to reiterate, Derek, you know,
Mhm.
gotten a long way back with you, you know, from when you first came on. Really grew with the job, you know, and really excited for whatever you plan on in the future. You'll do great. One thing, one other comment, the the trash pickup is kind of at about 7:30 in the morning, as I woke up and started getting ready, I started getting thunderstorms. And then we had a gully washer about 15 minutes before we were supposed to start. So it was me, and I did part of Newtown, and Tracy, who I sent back to do Waxhaw Marvin in front of our neighborhood. That's pretty much what got
Got
done,
done.
because of course, 20 minutes later, the sun comes out.
Yeah, but by then, I mean,
But by then, everybody,
nobody
and
could
he
like,
thought about
yeah.
this thing.
Yeah.
So, that's where we're,
And then first, every year something happens.
yeah.
That's true.
At least we try.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an effort to do it.
Well, and we're publishing it, so
Yeah.
people see that,
We're
things are-
trying.
So I guess if we hit a drought in the middle of summer and we need it to rain, we'll just schedule that. You see that in California with my mom's parties. If you scheduled one in August, we get it.
All right, other than that, do I hear a motion on the table to adjourn the Village of Marvin Recreation and Greenway Board meeting here on May 2nd at 10:03 a.m.
Seconded.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Austin, I think it
I left the municipal.
I want to, for 600